All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking on a genuinely fascinating challenge. We are going to see exactly how to transform ourselves from casual basketball fans into master armchair referees. We're going to do this by looking at the very DNA of international basketball, the official FIBA rulebook. Specifically, we'll be exploring the highly technical foundation of the game found in Articles 1 through 14. By the end of this, I promise you, you'll be seeing the game in a completely new, incredibly structured way. Okay, let's dive right into this. Every sport needs a constitution, an ultimate authority that governs every single action, dispute, and mechanic on the floor. And for international basketball, that is the FIBA rulebook. We're looking at the 2024 edition today. Now, while it might look like a super dense legal document at first glance, it's actually a beautifully logical system, and we are going to decode that system together. To make this incredibly easy to master, here is our roadmap. 1. The court and objective. 2. Players, subs, and coaches. 3. Tip-off and game time. 4. The status of the ball. And 5. Playing and controlling it. Let's jump in. Section 1. The court and objective. So, before anyone can even touch a basketball, every game needs a physical stage and a crystal-clear goal. According to Article 1.4, the objective of the game is wonderfully simple. The team that has scored the greater number of points at the end of playing time shall be the winner. But where exactly does this happen? Well, Article 2.1 dictates that the court must be exactly 28 meters in length by 15 meters in width, measured from the inner edge of the boundary line. It has to be a flat, hard surface completely free from obstructions. And while this might seem totally obvious, these specific parameters are the literal bedrock of the game. Everything else we're going to discuss happens within this exact 420 square meter universe. Section 2. Players, subs, and coaches. Let's move on to the human element. The rules governing players, substitutes, and coaches are surprisingly strict. In fact, they set the stage for our first interactive referee test. I want to pose this scenario directly to you to test your baseline knowledge. Imagine you're taking a referee training exam. The game is tight. A controversial foul is called, and the first assistant coach steps up to the sideline to ask the referee for clarification on the call. Is this legal? Make your call. Well, if you blew your imaginary whistle and said no, you are absolutely correct. According to Article 7.4, only the head coach is permitted to communicate with the officials to get information. The rulebook purposely designates only one voice of authority for a team on the sidelines. This prevents chaos, maintains order, and ensures the referees aren't just completely overwhelmed by multiple coaches arguing or asking questions all at the exact same time. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it perfectly illustrates the black and white nature of FIBA regulations. Let's rapid fire through these common scenarios. An excluded player, so someone who has fouled out, can they stay on the bench? Yes, Article 4.3.3 says they remain part of the team delegation. When does a sub actually become an active player? Exactly when the referee beckons them onto the court, per Article 4.4.3. Can a team start a game with just 4 players if someone is running late? Absolutely not, which we'll look at closer in just a second. And finally, can a team captain officially protest a referee's decision? Yes, according to Article 46.13, they can sign the score sheet to indicate a formal protest. Do you see how having a highly structured rule for literally every possible interaction keeps the whole game running smoothly? Section 3. Tip-off and game time. Okay, we have the precise measurements of our court, and we have the exact regulations for the people involved. Now we have to officially get this game underway. And listen, the jump ball to start the first quarter isn't just 2 tall players jumping at a ball. Article 12.2.1 outlines highly specific physical requirements. Each jumper must stand with both feet inside the half of the center circle nearest to their own basket. Not only that, one foot must be placed close to the center line, and they have to hold that position until the referee actually tosses the ball. If a player is even a few millimeters off or steps over the line prematurely, it's a violation before the game has even technically begun. But wait, before that toss even happens, the crew chief is scanning the court to verify this specific number, 5. Under Article 9.3, a game absolutely cannot start if one or both teams do not have exactly 5 players on the court ready to play. You can't play man down to start a game, no matter what the excuse is. If a team doesn't have 5 ready players, the game does not start. Section 4. The status of the ball. This builds into what might honestly be the most conceptually complex part of the entire rulebook. Governed by Article 10, it requires you to understand exactly when a basketball is legally considered alive and when it's considered dead. So the crucial point is drawing a stark contrast between these two states, because they dictate everything about what players are legally allowed to do, when timeouts can be called, and when substitutions can happen. The ball becomes live the exact millisecond it leaves the referee's hand on a jump ball toss, or when a referee hands it to a player for a throw-in or a free throw. Conversely, the ball is dead the moment a goal is made, or a referee blows their whistle while the ball is live. Think of it this way. The status of the ball is the pulse of the game. When it's live, the game is breathing. When it's dead, the action stops. Now, how does a player actually interact with that live ball? Well, it all depends on their physical location, which is defined by Article 11. Here is the key takeaway. A player's location is determined by where they are touching the floor. But the absolute most fascinating part, gravity and momentum do not override the rulebook. If you're airborne, you retain the exact same status as where you last touched the floor. If you leap from out of bounds to save a ball, you are still legally considered out of bounds while in the air. If you jump from behind the three-point line, you are a three-point shooter in the air, even if your momentum carries you way into the paint before you actually land. Section 5. Playing and controlling it. This brings us perfectly into our final section, focusing on Articles 13 and 14. This is where the strict theoretical rules we've been discussing finally meet the chaotic, fast-paced open court action. Article 13.1 provides the most fundamental definition of the sport itself. The ball is played with the hand or hands only. You can pass, throw, tap, roll, or dribble it. However, the rulebook immediately adds a vital caveat in Article 13.2. A player cannot deliberately kick the ball, block it with any part of the leg, or strike it with a fist. Doing so deliberately is a strict violation. But, and you see this happen all the time in real games, if a pass accidentally bounces off a player's shin or knee, it is totally fine. The key word the referees are looking for there is deliberately. All right, it is time for your final exam as an armchair referee. This is a highly specific, pretty complex scenario taken straight from the official FIBA interpretations, specifically Scenario 14-3. Imagine this. Team A is on offense. Player A1 throws a bad pass that sails toward the sideline. Player B1, a defensive player, runs and jumps from the inbounds court out over the boundary line. While in the air, B1 catches the ball and before landing out of bounds, throws it back onto the court where an offensive player, A2, catches it. Just break that down in your head for a second. Whose ball is it, and what happens to the shot clock? And this brilliantly illustrates how deeply intertwined these rules are. Let's look at the actual ruling. Because defender B1 jumped from the court, Article 11 says they are legally in bounds while airborne. By catching the ball in the air, B1 legally gained team control for the defense. Then, B1 throws it back, and offensive player A2 catches it, establishing new control for the offense. Because team control changed from Team A to Team B in the air and then back to Team A, the result is that the offensive team is awarded a completely fresh 24 seconds on the shot clock. It's a massive shift in the game, entirely dictated by understanding airborne status and ball control. We've really just scratched the surface of Articles 1 through 14, but you can already see how they build the entire foundation of the game, from the dimensions of the wood to the live status of the ball to the very air above the court. So the next time you're watching a game and a chaotic scramble happens near the sideline, you won't just be watching the ball. You'll be looking at where the player's feet last touched, recognizing exactly who established control, and watching that shot clock reset. My final question to you is, now that you know the invisible architecture of the court, are you ready to make the perfect call from your couch? Or do you need to review the tape? I highly encourage you to rewatch this explainer, pause to reflect, and truly internalize these foundational FIBA rules. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you on the next one.